Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Creator to Creators Today. Today, we have a special guest,
Valeria Sweet.
Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you could do this.
Thank you so much for having me, Meosha.
Thank you. So when I think about, creators, I think about people that are just, super talented and who's doing like, whether it's writing, artistically, acting, filmmaking, whatever, but you wear a lot of hats. I've been looking you up. You've done it all. So tell me from the beginning, where are you from and what was your childhood like? And how did you kind of find your way into acting and the love for this?
Yeah, so I was originally born in Russia in a city called Kazan. It's very cosmopolitan, so it was a cool place to grow up. But the thing about like Russia in general, the arts is not really so prominent. It's more like a hobby. Everybody's super creative. Like a lot of designers come out of Russia, but it's not paid very well. So nobody's prepping you to be an artist. Gotcha. And so everybody's like, be good in math, be good in like, a stable kind of career kind of jobs. So as a little kid, I was still drawn to art because I think as little kids, we're all drawn to some kind of like, creative endeavor. Everybody's talented creatively. Sometimes people don't think that they are, but they are. Sometimes they're just haven't tried something. Or weren't allowed to try something. So that was the case with me. I like to draw, but I was never put into drawing classes or anything. So I was, just concentrating on like languages, learning English and stuff like that. I was good at that. But I always liked like acting and I liked performing, even though people were like, oh, you're really shy. Are you sure you want to do that? I was like, yeah, I want to try. And I really liked American TV shows. Like everything I watched was American TV shows. Like I watched Buffy, strong female leads like Buffy, Xena, Charmed. Like I wanted to be all of them. I wanted to have powers. I wanted to, go fight outside. So I would create like little sketches with my friends and make like new TV episodes of these shows. But I didn't know it was like a thing. I thought it was just, child play. So then my parents divorced and my mom met somebody in North Carolina. So we had moved to North Carolina.
That's the South, right?
Yeah. East Coast, yeah. And that was very different because it wasn't, even though I really always wanted to move to America or like whatever the idea of it was. And I feel like I manifested it. Because my mom said she never wanted to go to America. So you know how we can manifest for other people.
Absolutely.
And so we ended up in North Carolina, but it wasn't really the America that I had imagined that I saw on TV. We ended up living like in the way in the country, like where usually they say like, okay, if there's a post office in your city or like in a little town, a bureau town, I don't even know where the post office was, but like the nearest like big store, like a Walmart, was 30 minutes away.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, there are cows across the street. So I'm moving from like a cosmopolitan city, imagine like downtown LA, like everything's walkable in this city, to like a little town of Trinity, North Carolina. And my world just like turned upside down. I became really shy because like new language, like new people, new school, everything was just like so different. And like the creative part kind of took a back burner for a second, because I had to deal with all these other things that were now a part of my life. And so then it wasn't until like 11th grade when I took my first art class. And at this point, I didn't know I was good in art. So I just took an art class as an elective, never could get into it. It was like always a wait list. So finally got in, and apparently I could draw. So my art teacher, she, at the end of that semester, she said, if you like this, you're really good at this, I'm going to make sure that you can keep taking art classes, because you only have like 3 more semesters before you graduate. And usually there's like art 1, art 2, 3, 4, whatever, and then there's like AP. So she said, I'm gonna let you skip these classes.
Wow.
And like I'm just gonna put you in AP art, like you're this good. And because I had somebody who believed in me, and at this point, doesn't you're still a kid, so you're kind of like figuring out what you're good at.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I jumped into art, and I ended up going to college for art and design. But throughout college, that's when I started like modeling and acting, and kind of like getting back to what my childhood dream was.
Oh, nice.
I was starting, because it was an art school, I was meeting these people who were in like the theater degrees or like production, and they needed people for their sketches or shorts or music videos. And so because I was modeling a lot, they just thought of me. And it was kind of like small fish in a big, or I mean a big fish in a small pond kind of situation, because there were only so many people who were acting or modeling, so you'd be thought of for those things first off. And so then when I moved to LA, was now you're a small fish in a big pond.
What year was this? When did you move to LA?
So I moved to LA, it was like beginning of 2012.
Wow.
So almost been here 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And you know how they say like it takes about 10 years for your career to kind of like
blossom.
Start off.
Yeah, it's like,
and
wow.
Especially when you move to a new place,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure like you felt it too.
Definitely. It was definitely a different, I also come from a small town. So I totally understand the shock when I came here. I was like, oh, this is different for sure. I'm curious, you coming out to LA and then discovering all that, I'm sure you found your team that, everyone says you're going to have to find that tribe that's going to be like, hey, you can do it, because it's not easy. But what was that? The first, like, when you first got here, did you like plug into an agency right away, or did you just start like hit the ground running?
Well, it was interesting because I didn't know that many people, but the people that I did know, they kind of connected me with some of the people. So when I was still in North Carolina, I would do like a street team for Capitol Records.
Okay.
So I would like go to a bunch of shows like Katy Perry, like promoting, go to a bunch of like big shows. And so I kept in touch with one of my like managers at Capitol Records, and he is like, well, I'm from LA. I know somebody who has an agency. So I got signed to an agency pretty much right away because of that. Because, like everything in LA is connections. Like if you don't know anybody, you first, you fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's hard, without a referral. You can get an agent. It's easy, to get an agent, but is it going to be a good agent? So first it was with them. I don't think they're an agency anymore, but I just kind of like, started figuring out like what's here, okay, LA casting, okay, I need headshots. And it was interesting because my modeling portfolio, and actually I have a picture in here. But so I had like a couple of photos. This was like, oh, this is my old comp card. Like when I first just moved here, and
Nice.
a lot of the photos like this, they're from North Carolina, and everybody like in LA agencies were like, no, they're too creative, like they're too colorful, they're not LA enough. So I had to like reshoot the whole portfolio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got new reels, and but yeah, it took off pretty well when I first moved and like discovered LA casting and like was submitting a lot. And when you're still not union, there's so much more to submit on. It's when you turn union, then it's like, okay, there's a little less, unless you're also willing to work,
That's absolutely. I mean, when I looked at your bio, you were doing like, you did an exercise video. You've done like, you've done so much. Like, I love that you're creative and you're staying creative and you're creating. That's what we do, I wonder, so where did that come from? That drive of like, well, like to being in this industry isn't easy. And then acting is another like world, is like, whoa, I commend actors. What keeps you going?
I always say that I'm a lover of life and a lover of people. And I think that's what keeps me motivated and inspired, because there's so much to look forward to, and because there's so many people like, to help or to meet and have fun with. And I love meeting people and I love helping them. And I've actually been a life coach since I was like 14 years old. I mean, I didn't obviously like start charging then. I didn't even know what it was. I was just like always listening to people's problems and like giving advice. Wow. So that's how it kind of started, which, then I started like writing books too. And yeah, it all kind of feeds into itself. I think like wherever you find your inspiration, motivation, follow it. I always say follow all of your interests, because life is so colorful and it's so broad. Like, why not try something new? Why not like meet a new person, strike up a conversation, like even how we met, like you met my friend and then I was just there. And like it just like it happens all the time, and like we could have had a misconnection. So I think it's just like following everything that just sparks life into you.
I love that. That's awesome. What so you created a book, and what made you want to write a book?
So I have 2 books,
Wow.
And they're kind of like in the love coaching series. So that was mostly what I was coaching people on like relationships and stuff like that. Nice. And because so many people would come to me, I was like, well, what about all these people that I may not know or don't have access to me? Why don't I just like write everything that I think about this topic and write a book on it? And it's called The Most Wanted One in the World: How to Be the One to Meet the One. So the one is what everyone's kind of looking for, right? We're looking for the one. So, but we have to also be that person that they want to be with. Nice. So the book is a lot about, figuring out what makes you happy first. And then like, once you're there, like you can figure out what you want. So like, what is it that you want? Because until you don't know what you're looking for in that person. Very true. So one of the exercises that I, do with my clients and I put in the book is write down everything that you're looking for in that person. Yep. And it works for it works for other things too, like whether it's a job my mom, she read the book and she got a new job after reading it,
Wow.
because she
Wow.
wrote,
That's
you just have to be
awesome.
specific, whatever,
That's right.
whatever, like health, whatever the topic is, just you have to be specific about what you want. You can't just be like, oh, I want to be healthy.
Right.
Okay. How many times a week are you going to work out? Are you
Right.
going to, go to the doctor? Like, what are
Very
you going
true.
to eat? So,
It's all about intention. You're right. You're right.
mm,
Because if we don't have like a clear exact thing that we're trying to, strive for, we're just not gonna, it's just gonna, just like you said, you're just gonna throw it out there, and then anything comes and we're like, wait a minute, but I didn't
exactly.
say that.
Exactly. That's what I always say too. Like, well, everything is going to come true that you think and you feel and you talk about. So be specific, because it's going to come true.
Nice. I love that. Also, I noticed that you have like this, you have these like these like, is it like an event that you put on like for like dreamers or something like that? It's like you have a few that you've done, but this recent one, which I'm sorry I couldn't come to, but how did you start into, like, I mean, that's awesome. So it's just you're the creator of this whole event.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So originally it was called Dream Life Workshop, but I think it wasn't like specific enough. So I just kind of dialed it into the Dream Board
Okay.
Workshop. So it's like, you're familiar with the vision board,
Yes,
vision boarding.
absolutely.
So, and I see you have, some paintings in the back. But yeah, basically it's all about, making like, or like going from a big dream to like smaller achievable goals, because the way to achieve that big dream is, how do we eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Yeah.
And so, we kind of create like, okay, this is your big dream. How are you gonna be able to achieve it? So like kind of break it down at least into like 5 things, and then break it down like even smaller, achievable things. So that way, what you can accomplish in a month, what you can accomplish in a week, a day. Because sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, I need to have like, 7 things to do a day, but our brain doesn't work like that. Like we
Right.
need, one main thing we're going to do, and we already, not only our energy has been spent, but we're also satisfied.
Right.
But the thing about vision boards, and also any imagery you have around you, is that it's like coming true for you in your life. For example, recently I like to put like screensavers on my phone,
Mhm.
like a backdrop.
Yeah.
And I put something about like being in this TV show, but it was like based on a book. So it had like a book cover of that book and the name of the author in big, print. Well, you put what, like, you get what you put on it. You don't get like, that's why you have to be specific, because I didn't get the part, but I met the author. You know what I mean? So, and there's like so many examples, and it teaches me every time, like, okay, we have to be like so much more specific. And then
Right.
there were a couple of times recently when I booked a job, based on like my vision board and just like my, goal setting. And for example, one of them, I was like, well, I wasn't actually aiming for a job. I was just like, okay, I want to do something different with my hair. Maybe I'm gonna put like some, you know, like reddish highlights. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do for that? Okay, I need to go to Sally's. I need to figure out like if I want permanent, non-permanent. So like I want non-permanent. So I just said it, and then I said it to a friend, and then 2 days later there was a casting, and it was like, oh, non-permanent hair color
Hey,
job for this company, and I got it. And I was like,
nice.
oh, so like I get to do this and somebody else gets to do this for me and I get paid, like, so sometimes all it takes is just putting it out there, but you have to be specific. So I like to
Absolutely.
host this event, and there are going to be more,
Yay.
but it's all about kind of like being true to yourself and
Yes.
not really, wanting things just because everybody else is doing it, but like,
Yes.
what is it that you want? It doesn't matter what your mom wants for you. It doesn't matter, what your spouse wants for you. Like,
Right.
what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, because then you're essentially not going to be living for yourself. You'll be living for other people. And then you're going to be thinking later on, like, I'm not happy. What am I doing? I think that's a lot of people out in LA or in this industry, particularly, like they're trying to find their identity because of this celebrity or, I want to do this. So that looks good. So they can't just stay in one thing. It's like, oh, we got to do this because this person's doing that. And it's like, no, it's not your path. Like, stay in your lane, your path, or honestly, just like I said, stay true to what you want, not what others want. I love that so much. Like, I've always like known growing up that I wanted to be in film somehow. I just didn't know how I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just starts with it just started because I wanted to. I took a leap of faith. I started it. A lot of people don't start. So starting is part of the big part of the journey. But yeah, I'm curious as an actress, and how do you? I mean, because I see you booking and working like crazy, which is amazing. Even though we're all in this crazy time right now of this pandemic that we're still in, how do you like? Has it affected you at all as far as like work and like psychologically speaking, the pandemic?
Like mental health?
Yeah.
Just like pandemic in general?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it's changed every one of us.
Yeah.
I mean, not only did we have time to kind of like sit with ourselves and at first when the pandemic hit and we were in this limbo of not knowing what's going to happen, it was like, okay, what are we going to do, especially in this industry? Like, are we gonna go back to work soon? If we're not going back to work soon, like what else can I do for work?
Yeah.
But we make films, so we have the ability to make our own films and write them as well. We don't have to wait for other people and to be cast. So that was good. So I was able to I actually wrote a pandemic feature.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was like just like a mishmash of every situation that either me or my friends have experienced. And I also my first job back was in the health and safety department of a film, so I learned everything there is to know about COVID at the time. And it was very stressful. It was a stressful time because nobody, it was just so much uncertainty for an artist, even though we do live with it every day, job to job. But it was just more so,
Definitely.
But I think, we're coming out stronger, and I don't want to glorify you have to, go through something horrible to get stronger. I don't like glorifying that.
Right.
But we're stronger because I think it made us communicate with each other more.
Yes.
And we've become better communicators.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
absolutely. And I love that.
You have to, if you can't see each other in person, you're only doing it on Zoom. So you have to ask, what did you mean by that? Or whatever.
Right. Right. So in your journey of acting, is there a role that what role, or something that you haven't played that you want to play so far? What's the next thing that you're yeah, I want to do that? That's a dream or goal.
So I think my dream would be kind of like a Tomb Raider kind of role. And I do have a film that I wrote. It's called Lana, and I wanna make it because it's interesting because so it's kind of like a mix between Last Kiss Goodnight.
Oh wow.
And Born Identity.
Oh, very cool.
So it's a female assassin who wakes up one day not remembering what had happened to her, and there's a husband, and he's like, oh, you're just a housewife, kind of thing. And so he's okay. And as she goes throughout her week, she's okay, I can read lips, and I have, all these like capabilities that I wouldn't be able to after like a 6-month coma. So so then she meets somebody from her past who was her coworker, and they confirm you were an assassin. And you have to help us. So she has to kind of like come out of her shell and figure out, like, am I doing this for myself? Am I doing this for these people? What is happening?
Interesting.
So it's like a thriller and also an action. So that'd be a cool role to play if I make it.
Well, I think you'll do great. You'll definitely knock it out the park for sure. For sure. That's awesome. Question, is it do you think it's getting easier for women in film?
I hope so. In indie world, I think it is.
Okay.
And I think it is in the TV world. I think TV is becoming more diverse, but they're also like, there's a pressure that's, they're putting on either like the fellowships, or the writing programs. And I know, a lot of female directors in TV now and in the indie world. But I think for like big studios, it's still a little tougher. And so I worked on an Olivia Wilde film, and she said that it was really, really hard to fund her film with a female lead because that's what the studios are like. Well, they're going off of numbers for previous movies. So whenever there is a movie with a female lead, I always go see it. Like, we have to support, what we want to see.
Absolutely.
Like, if there's a female director, we have to go see it.
Yep.
So the studios like need to see the numbers. That's what's driving them. But also, I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but like,
it's okay.
There's a thing about HR,
and
there's still like sexism on sets.
Oh yeah.
And because it's a relationship business, people get very familiar with you instead of like treating you as another coworker,
Right.
So there's a lot of that too. So
yeah, hopefully it changes. I can't imagine acting wise. I mean, that's why I kind of got out of acting a bit, because it just wasn't my cup of tea, and then just the overly sexual on sets. And so getting into behind the camera was a bit of a much safer place to be. I got it less. It's really unfortunate, but yeah, hopefully things are changing. It seems like it. I mean, slowly, but surely.
I hope so. But I mean, if you still see the casting breakdowns, I'm so appalled at some of them. They're so specific. And I'll tell my male actor friends, I'm like, is your casting for your role this specific? Because mine says what eye color I need to have, what hair color, what height, what proportions. And they're like, what? No, never.
Wow.
And I'm like, so how are they going off of? So if I look like that, then I'm perfect for this role. But like, what is the character? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is her essence? What?
Yeah. It's
frustrating.
It's
really
frustrating.
So like, I feel like, the more females are in the, in the director's chairs, producers' chairs, casting chairs, then like, I feel like they'll be going away more.
I hope so. That's the plan. I mean, I've heard of a lot of women in film groups and, organizations, and that's the conversation. I think it's all about bringing that awareness and making that change. And actually, when we get in positions to hire, can we make it all female crew? Like, let's do that. Why not? We can do it. it's possible. So yeah, it's changing. I have hope.
I do
But
too.
yeah, what advice would you give somebody out there that wants to get into acting and wants to do what you're doing? What advice would that be?
Just do it. Like, don't think another day about it. Just go ahead, like make a list of all things you need and just like jump into it. Because, well, two reasons. First of all, you know how they say like a year from now, you wish that you started today.
Yeah.
Like, time will pass anyway. So like, why not just like enjoy your time here? But also recently I had like a near-death experience. We had like almost a boating accident, and we just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So live in the present. Like there's no like future, so to speak, right? The future is in the present. It is today. So just do it. Like, join LA Casting, join Actors Access. It doesn't matter where you are. Like you can submit from anywhere now. You can self-tape from anywhere now. Like, I'll self-tape and it'll work in Miami like recently. So it doesn't matter like where you live. And also, find, how we talked about, like kind of like find your crew, find that like support system. And if there isn't a person who believes in you, honestly, just like believe in yourself, believe in your might, write affirmations that, I believe in myself, and it's gonna start coming true. So just start today and believe in yourself because you can do it. Like if we can, anybody can, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Anything that you're working on right now that you want to share with the audience, and where can they find you?
Sure. So my Instagram is at Valeria Sweet Official, and also my blog is thesweetpost.com. And so I have a couple of things. So recently, or my most recent thing prior to COVID that I filmed, it was called Red String of Fate. It's a mini series that I filmed in Russia. And it talks about different kinds of soulmates. So I wrote it and I acted, produced it, everything.
Wow.
And that can be found on my website, thesweetpost.com. And also, I am going to be working, or like we're in pre-production for a film, and it's called Once in a Blue Moon with Philip Andre Botello.
Nice.
So we will be, going to pre-production and searching for locations soon, and that's the pandemic film. So
Woohoo. Can't wait to see that.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully it happens and we do it so soon.
Well, I'm sending you good vibes and positive energy that it will happen. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was lovely talking to you. You're amazing, and we're going to definitely keep watching. So, guys, thank you for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. Bye, everybody.